won't sway. Yeah, no, I won't cave. Okay, I've been on the mountain, what you wanna say? Ay, I'll be up in heaven with them one day. Ay, you be in the grave and yeah, my soul is safe. Ay, you be slowing down, I'll be like on delay. Ay.
What's up, everybody? I'm back here with my boy Omar Segura. Solmar, what is it?
Solmar, coolest guy and the hottest day of the year.
Ooh, okay, the Patriot. So we're here. We just kind of want to dive in a little bit. I got 3 different short segments for you guys. This is my first interview. I'm super excited. I've known this guy for a few years now, and really good guy, God-fearing man, and a hard worker. So I just wanted to share his story a little bit. So if any of you relate, you can kind of share and go on from there. So we're gonna dive in here. If you want to talk a little bit, I worked at Solar City, just like you did.
Yeah, I'll start there.
We didn't work together.
Yeah, we never worked together, which is crazy.
Where were you at? I was out here
Chatsworth.
Chatsworth. Okay, so we were out here in Valencia. I think we went to the same building though. Did we meet in the same?
Yeah,
Chatsworth
we also
building?
yeah.
Okay.
Once in a while, but it was mostly in Chatsworth.
Got it. So we never really crossed paths, but I ended up leaving with Adam Flowers to go work with John, and that's where I really met you. You were always suited to the boot with the Bluetooth in. We met there. We went there right off of Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah,
and,
La Brea.
in La Brea. Ooh, it was a nice building. So
Bright Energies.
Bright Energy. Shout out Bright Energies. Right. Cool. Good times. So at that point, I knew you were a top dog salesman, and being in sales, I like to model myself after people that I knew were getting it done. So whether you knew it or not, I was watching a lot of your movements and how you conducted yourself in our meetings and stuff. And when I transitioned out of there and I found out that you started your own company, and Omar is the owner of Clean Energy Solar Direct, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So I ended up keeping track with you over social media and finding out that you were able to take the field that we were both kind of in, and you were able to transform yourself over a period of, time and chapters in your life to get you to where you wanted to be. And I kind of just wanted to pick your mind a little bit on your mindset of where you were at that point as an employee, and then the continued mindset on your journey to being an owner, and kind of the habits that took place, and maybe any major events that happened along the way.
Yeah, I could definitely share that. But it's funny because I do share this story how I started with Solar City with some customers. If I feel like I get a good vibe and we're comfortable with each other, we built a good relationship, and I could feel the energy from the start, I'll go into that. And I always tell them I was that little guy, right? I was that little guy at the aisle at Home Depot and the Best Buys, trying to offer them to find something in the aisle. I was that guy that had the booth, the little notepad. Hey, how much you pay for electricity, by the way? I can help you get those lights.
Let's set an appointment.
Yeah, right. So I was that guy, but the thing that helped me out is that I always had that personality. I always had the charisma and the open, very honest person. At the same time, with a sense of humor, it'll kick a sense of humor, and it helped me a lot with meeting clients like at Best Buy, because Best Buy attracted a lot of millionaires, business people, executives. All these people live south of the boulevard. We're talking like Beverly Hills, Encino, Tarzana, all those areas. So the other thing that helped me out is that I had the Spanish, because I'm Panamanian.
Okay.
So I speak Spanish almost fluently, and that helped me get a lot of customers as well to set up the appointments. Long story short, 30, 40 days later, I get called to a promotion to become a consultant. So it was within the first 45 days when I started that position in Solar City, they promoted me. And then I was like, you know what? I love this. I fell in love with it. The renewable energy, helping the environment, creating a chain reaction of people that are able to get work, people in construction, jobs, everything. So we're creating a domino effect when we, as individuals, as consultants, go to someone's house, help them save money, put their family in a better controlled situation.
Right.
Because when they retire, their bills are not going to go down when they retire. And 20-30% of their income decreases.
And then you've got inflation.
And then you got inflation at the same time. So we're doing that, and we're triggering a domino effect of the permanent department and the people that work construction, all that. So that's why I love it. And I was like, man, this is amazing. So I became one of the top sales reps in all over the valley, and I had multiple projects. I was going to appointments left and right, driving, happy, super excited.
Yeah, the hustle gets happy.
You like little company card, the laptop. I was sold out. So
what was the transition to Bright Energies like?
Yeah, so I started finding that I started doing research as far as the comp plan, and then I noticed that I don't know if I could say how much we were getting paid, but it was like all the marketing that they gave us. Actually, all the marketing that they gave us, they would take 50% of all the commission, but we were getting paid per panel, a certain dollar per panel based on how big the system was.
Right.
And I found out, and something wasn't sitting right, even though I was in love with the company, I was in love with the industry. Something was like, you can make more money than this with solar. And this company that I was working for was so big that they had a huge market share, right?
Yeah.
It got to the point where I said, you know what, I think I'm going to leave Solar City. And I got emotional and I started praying the Holy Spirit. This was one of those detachments, like, because you got all of the friends you made, the relationships you built.
Book of business with
all
that
the book
brand.
of business, you sold yourself on that brand, and you're finally saying, you know what, I have to leave. And that's when I seriously, it was hard. I had to pray in the Holy Spirit, and I was like, God, I hope I'm making the right decision, right? Because I could have stayed there until Tesla bought them out, and who knows, right?
Who knows?
But probably would have left anyways. So
we're dream chasers.
I don't know how I met the owner of the company, the startup, and was it Bright Energies? Yeah, Bright Energies, right?
John.
And I forgot how I transitioned because you know what? Somebody referred John to me.
Okay.
And then he was handling the East Coast, West Coast with Solar City as well.
Mm-hmm. He came from Boston.
Legacy. It was Legacy or not? Some other company.
Can't remember. You might be right with Legacy.
Yeah, they were him and some guy named TJ.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they both were talking about this huge pipe dream because I'm a big thinker. If I could get my hands on utility scale projects, at the time I didn't know it was that difficult. Utility scale, megawatt projects, gigantic solar farms.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna be millionaires.
That's right.
Right. And all of a sudden, I did find like 4 or 5 landowners that wanted to build big megawatt solar farms. I had them in my pocket. The problem is that we didn't have the capacity or the resources to actually start these projects. Plus, a lot of them, it costs a lot of money up front to find out if it's even doable. Because it requires substations at certain locations, it requires soil and testing, environment, permits. Permits cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I don't know the industry, but I know permits pretty well in other industries.
And it was a pipe dream. So it was like and then one of the projects I brought, which was residential, it was kind of like it wasn't organized. And I was like, you know what? I can't keep doing this. I'm coming to work every day to Hollywood from the Valley, building a pipe dream. I'm not getting paid. So I think I had like one job with them. And then I decided to leave and then go into home improvement companies and look into solar on the side. Okay.
So between Bright Energies, having the newfound understanding and experience, what path did you take to say, you know what, it's time to put it in my own hands, right? And you would never think, nothing ever really goes to plan, but what path did you take and what wave did you ride to get there? And most importantly, what was going on through your head? Because life is basically how much, what we talk to ourselves and the quality of that talk.
Yeah, of course. And it's funny, I was smiling when you asked that question because I could clearly remember like it was yesterday. When you get tired of working for companies that want to overcharge customers, rip them off, and if you question anything, they tell you keep your mouth shut, keep selling, keep making them money, and you deal with other people that try to rip you off and they're not upfront and honest, and you start seeing it with all these companies that talk a big game, and then when you actually work with them internally, you get to see the real mess that they're in or how much you try to take advantage of customers. So I couldn't do it anymore, and I decided to. There was one company, a green company that did home improvement using the Hero program.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I was driving to Torrance every day, and I lived at that time. I lived in Van Nuys, but I was driving to Torrance.
That's still a teeth puller. I don't like that drive.
The 405 freeway.
I don't like that drive.
So I said, you know what? I'm gonna get a regular job. So I got this little whack job at this hard money mortgage company. It was straight ghetto, right in the middle of downtown.
But you put your head down and built some character there.
I saw like arguments broke out and everything. It was the ghetto spot. Corner of Vermont and Wilshire.
Oh, okay.
Never forget.
Okay.
Spanish lady, you gonna lose your job. No,
Stop it.
That was stupid. So the thing is that from there I met, and this is how God works.
Right.
I love how God puts you in certain events, and he'll take that event and he'll take something out of that, move it to another one, and it'll ultimately get you to where God is leading you.
Amen.
Oh my God.
Amen.
So I actually was working at this ghetto company, and I happened to meet a girl there. A girl, her name was Justina McFadden. Shout out to her. She's gonna see this. She's gonna see this podcast.
Shout out.
So it was like a huge blessing in disguise, because me and her were the only ones at that ghetto job that clicked. Right? We clicked. We were making fun of people there because of some employees were just
You had great
weird.
synergy too.
The Office, that's what it reminded me of. So
it's a great show.
It was like a hoop show there, and me and her met before I met her. Previous to that job, I was applying for different jobs, corporate, because I needed the salary. I was like, I'm not gonna do this commission only. Solar, I was dabbing in solar, wasn't too much. And I applied for a company called Realtor.com.
Okay.
And that was the corporate office in Westlake Village, where it's a $1 billion company that does all the real estate search engine, like Zillow. They're like Zillow's biggest competitor.
Wow.
So I didn't get the job. I applied because it had a good salary structure, commission structure, and it's real estate. I'm like, cool. They never called me back. I end up getting this damn garbage job. I meet Justina. Me and we click, and then it was hilarious. Those were memorable times.
Awesome.
And then from there, she left and she got the job at Realtor.com.
Okay.
So she applied there. I didn't know. She got the job.
There you go.
And she left, and I got stuck there by myself with these goofballs.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, damn, you got the job, man. I applied for them. She goes, I got you covered. I'm going to see what I can do.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to the manager, right? She refers me to Realtor.com, and I'm still at this whack job, right? So I'm on my break applying for other jobs.
I've been
lunch
there.
breaks.
I've been there.
I know y'all did that too.
Yeah.
Applying for other jobs on your lunch break. So
Us dreamers.
So she was able to get me over. She referred me over. I applied, and they called me back. I'm like, really? Oh my God. Because starting salary was like 55 to 60K plus commission.
Okay.
So I was like, I can do pretty good there. So she got me the interview. I applied, bam, I got the job. I killed the interview.
Sweet.
So I got hired over there at Realtor.com.
Okay.
Now this is where I'm leading somewhere, because pay attention. And I'm a reverse engineer everything, just to show you how this is how
we love reverse
works.
engineering here.
So I actually started working there. Me and her, we were both murdering it. We had to build relationships with brokers, real estate brokers all across the United States, and help them get acclimated and learn how to use our CRM, and also learn how to deal with buyers that inquired through our website. So I was a broker consultant, right?
Okay.
I was teaching these brokers how to manage their leads, their reps, all that stuff.
Awesome.
It was fun. It was cool, man. Great. There was great people there. It was a great culture. Amazing culture.
That makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah. Great place to work.
Easier to succeed.
But you always have those couple little high-powered people that that abuse it and think that their stuff don't stay.
Yep.
Right?
Been there.
So I was there for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, building up my 401k, which was small because they had no damn 401k. And then slowly but surely, I started noticing that there was a lot of corporate changes with commission changes, right? They were changing the certain goal to hit, so you don't hit your commission. Okay. I saw people leaving, people going. I won't go into detail.
Okay.
People going in absence; they're not coming back. And she ended up leaving. She ended up leaving Realtor.com. My friend Justina. Okay. She left. She got married. Moved out of state, and now I'm staying there because I plan to stay here for a little while. Okay. Solar was still on my mind.
Right.
But I didn't have the time because I had to drive 100 miles a day to work over there. 100 miles a day. So before that job, I suffered an injury, 2 herniated discs. I suffered 2 herniated discs. which is the L4 and L5 came out 3 millimeters. I took a hard basketball fall and ignored the little small pain, and that's when I got sent to the ER because it was painful, dude. I don't wish nobody to have that because you can't. When you stand up, you can't. All your pressure,
it all compresses right down there.
Yeah, and just so my body was crooked. I literally have skinny, and my body was like crooked.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand up.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to recover from that, and every time I drive, my back starts to stiff up. So when I was working at Realtor.com, driving that long and then sitting for 8 hours, I had to literally have them special order the what do you call that desk that raises up because you stand up?
Oh, the standing desk.
Desk thing, right?
Yeah, I forgot the brand.
So I was using that, and this is kind of like giving you clues because this is going to lead to how I was able to start.
Okay.
Start my company.
Awesome.
But I could do a lot of talking, so just be
I
ready.
love it.
So
you should see my other podcasts. They're all at least an hour long by myself.
Go forever with all the stuff we could talk about, but I'm on the limit.
100.
But I'm trying to remember. Okay, where was I?
The standing desks.
The standing desk. So it was bothering me, my lower back, and then I suffered a minor. It wasn't a tear, but my meniscus was sprained.
Okay.
So now I have a swollen freaking left knee because of meniscus basketball, and then I had lower back problems. So I was like, "Come on, man!
Too young
Really?
for this."
And I'm still over here trying to play basketball, right? Because I loved it. I had so much passion for it.
Yeah.
But now I retired.
It's
You don't see me playing ball no more.
it's all good. We out here.
So the thing is like we when I was there long enough to see all this stuff, I started losing. Once I'm checked out, I'm done. Once my mind is checked out of someplace, you ain't getting me back. So I started feeling that way because they were writing people up like crazy. They were writing people, and I seen, when you see the writing on the wall, you can see the Titanic ship sink, and you're like, okay,
And the signs are there to run.
let's take that little boat and get off now because this ship is about to sink.
Yep.
Sure enough,
Called it.
a year and a half later after I left, 2 years, they got bought out by Op City, or
Okay.
I think they bought them out.
Okay.
They wiped out majority of the salespeople. People left. It was crazy. That's like God gives me a sign, and He has the Holy Spirit is like pushing me to do something.
Yeah.
I have to be obedient because the blessing comes afterwards.
I 100% agree with that.
Right. So I started getting angry because they wrote me up twice. They gave me 2 warnings. If I got the 3rd warning, I would have been fired. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they were writing people up, and then the manager was all crazy. She was crazy, man. Super high powered. Thought she was the best thing since sliced bread. And I saw the tension between me and the manager because I was like, I'm done with this. I can't stand corporate politics. I cannot stand it. Favoritism.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It's just, you work for a company, and I don't condone working for a company, but there's entrepreneurs where you can build your entrepreneurship inside of a company because you have shares, you have shares, you have everything,
100%.
right? And then you have your entrepreneurs who go out on their own, start their own thing, right?
Right.
And you have solopreneurs, right? So there's different combinations. I'm the entrepreneur because I can't see myself working for somebody.
Me neither.
And the biggest thing I wanted to say is like, I always thought if I say this to one person, it'll be the best thing ever that I can remember.
Okay.
Is tell your boss, you go up to your boss like, man, I think I have an eye problem. And I don't know if, and then you start acting like your eyes are watery, right? And he goes, what's wrong? I just can't see myself working for you no more.
Drop the mic.
Mic drop. So,
Oh my god.
That's an old joke though, bro. But could you imagine if I was able to say that? But of course, I don't like to leave in bad terms. I left on good terms. The HR loves me. They all love me there because I am who I am. I'm not a fake person.
Ever since I've known you, you are you live by the fruits as a Christian should. Love,
Right.
joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control.
Amen.
And so, that's what we are supposed to do as children of God, is to live by those fruits and to do what we do for God. And people will ask, why was that person always that way to me? And if we're consistent, that shows.
So I had lower back problems, and then I went to the doctor, and it was just too much for me, and I went on leave of absence. Right. anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I don't know if I was gonna have a job. Just couldn't think straight. And that ruins your performance if you want to perform optimal level.
100%.
Right? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave absence. And went on disability. Because of my lower back. Just stayed home. I didn't have too much to do, right? But there was always something in the back of my mind, like, and I know when the Spirit drops something, or if God puts something in your heart, it's like because there's a reason why He did that. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So in November 2018, I'll never forget, is when, well, before November, I made a decision, like, you know what? I'm going to start my own company. As scared as I was like, I don't know if this is going to go far. I was doubting it, you know. I think I'm going to start my own company, my own brand. I'm going to call it Clean Energy Solar Brokers, right?
Right.
And then fast forward, I transitioned it to Clean Energy Solar Direct.
Okay.
Right, because it felt more like broker. I don't want to put broker there. But anyways, I started a company. I got my first ever, article of declaration.
Yeah.
Business. I have an LLC, my own business bank account. Like, I never thought about this. I've always wanted to, but this was the point where this was it. I'm starting my own thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what transitioned and be like, you know, because I got so sick and tired of the corporate politics.
So it was a tipping point. It was
a tipping point
where you kind of calculated, all right, financially I can make the jump. Kind of everything checked off, and you're like, the only risk is me just taking the freaking jump. That's basically what it was, right?
That's what it was.
That holds a lot of people back.
Yeah, and I received some money from something else, like so it cushioned me. And then, you know, I was on disability, so I was comfortable.
Okay.
And I was just like, I got to do something with this time. I always wanted to do solar. Now I can invest into my company and start Clean Energy Solar Direct. You know, so we're on Instagram.
That's awesome.
We're on Facebook.
What's your Instagram handle?
The Instagram handle is Clean Energy Solar Direct.
Clean Energy Solar
Yeah,
Direct.
just like that. It should pop up.
And what's your Instagram so everyone knows? I'll throw it up here.
Oh, yeah,
as
yeah,
a title
yeah.
too.
Somar Watts 24.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Because remember, Somar is the name.
Somar is the name.
Remember that.
Why is it was it Somar again? Somar.
Huh?
What is it again? Somar. The
coolest guy in the hottest day of the year.
And 24 is for Kobe, right?
100, baby. I wanted to finish up with, like, long story short, have over 8 to 10 people that are helping me run this. Well, selling solar, I've expanded to all of the United States, even Hawaii, you know, through partnerships with different solar companies. So I want to give glory to get praise to God because of what He's helped me position to where my company's at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm still a long ways, but
the door's open.
But man, there's so much.
So what all in solar do you work with? You work with commercial, residential, battery. What is everything
storage,
you work with?
EV charging, carports. I graduated from the school of strategic partnership with Clark Construction.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Clark. I know Clark.
You know Clark?
I know the name. I mean,
they're big.
I'm not.
Like, they do all the museums.
That's the reason why I know it. Just a big name.
I graduated from them because they make you go through their classes to be a exclusive partner for when the projects come out, you're the first. You know how they operate.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that. That's why I like to get the jobs that I'm working on right now. You know, sacrifice the time, you know, at a job, but I'm learning so much in the ins and outs and how, you know, all like you were just saying, the networking works in intra businesses. So, well, that's awesome, dude. I'm in the process of wanting to launch something for myself as well, and it's going to be a long road, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to look more forward to the journey than the destination, especially as a Christian. God's put so much in my life in the 28 years that I've been around, so I'm looking forward to just ride this ride, but at the same time, this is helpful for me, just understanding other people that I know and the way they become successful and the work ethic they put in towards that. And I just want to know, you know that I have tons of respect for you for that. And I'm super grateful for you being my first interview here and being able to share that for anyone else that's listening and for myself, most importantly, because as I start this journey here, I'm going to be learning so much from you guys more than maybe my audience. And that to me is just valuable in itself. And I hope anyone that's listening to this enjoys the topics of, you know, business entrepreneurship, or maybe if you're a Christian or you love sports, we'll be getting into that in a minute. But this guy's a solid guy. I'm just really happy that you're here, Omar.
Appreciate it.
So with the business and the success that you have now started towards, how is business? I mean, for
it's
you,
amazing.
I mean, is it keeping you busy?
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm super busy because my team grew organically. I had people asking me, are you still selling solar? And then I got people that I'm training and mentoring so they can sell solo. So we're super busy. I mean, we have so many projects we're working on.
Sorry, the fly from the Democrats came back over to you.
No, what I thought that was Biden.
Oh, get that nasty out. Sorry about that. I interrupted you. Just had to let everyone know the Democratic fly made a appearance here.
First it went from pens and then went from on my lip.
Yep, I saw that fly come out of Kamala's mouth that night. So I mean, that was Obama's fly and all of that. So Hillary's fly. They're just doing whatever they can to get this election.
Man, too much.
So sorry again. So transition. You've been really busy. You've been keeping you on your toes.
Yeah, really busy. I'm blessed. I'm when I look back at everything I went through, the relationships I met, who God put in front of me, the reason why they put that person in front of me, it all leads up to this. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm super grateful. I praise God 100%. He gets all the glory because of everything he's orchestrated to put me in a position right now.
Amen. All right. So getting into basketball here, we mentioned that, once or twice going on here in that first segment. I never played, but I love basketball. I was a baseball player, soccer as my secondary sport. That's what I used to stay active because us baseball guys don't run. Mm-hmm. Don't let them fool you when you see them running wind sprints on the foul lines. We don't really run, especially the pitchers. So, I played soccer. I wish my parents put me in basketball. Looking back, I had so many friends, Brian and Cole Preston and different guys I knew playing ball. And so it would have been cool playing for Coach Kelly over at Hart because I was so close with him. But anyways, that wasn't it. But I grew into basketball really big. I was a Shaq fan, but I grew in when Lebron came in the league. It was just someone pointed me out to him and I fell in love with Lebron. And you respect all the legends. I respected Kobe, especially being a Laker and being from LA here. So for me, I've kind of just followed LeBron. So the Lakers, I know you're a Laker fan, for the most part. Okay,
a little bit.
Okay. So for the first championship in the last 10 years, I think that's pretty exciting. Last one was with Kobe. Rest in peace now.
Yep.
I know you're a Kobe fan.
I love Kobe, man.
What did you start watching Kobe when he came in the league? How did that all
I started watching Kobe like a little bit like after he got into his prime. That's when I actually started following him. And then I knew when Michael Jordan retired, it was like, damn, so who's like the next guy that I love that I can like be competitive with myself when I play ball.
Right. So we're similar like that.
Because Kobe Bryant was so similar to Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he was. Right.
He was like the closest NBA player to Michael Jordan. Yeah. Right. And his moves, the way that he took off, his explosiveness, his mindset. Man.
That mindset was transferable to anything. I think that's why he did so well in business when he left.
Yeah, because he's absolute. He's not normal. Like the way that he is competitive and how he prepares himself. That's something not a normal person. You got to be completely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To what he done, and that's why he is who he is.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the success factors, right? For succeeding out of college or being a professional athlete or a singer or whatever, it's usually a 5% window. And to be the greatest out of those 5%, to be a great out of those 5% is such a small fraction, but to be the greatest and to have those mindsets. I grew up playing baseball, so I was more team sport oriented. So, I was a big fan of Shaq, and I just liked the way the jerseys looked on him when he would slam dunk. It just had that sheen to it. It was different, and he's different. And Kobe, it wasn't as much of a team player, I guess, back then. It's just some of the words he'd say to the teammates. So I didn't really have a fond love for Kobe, honestly, until his last year in the league. I had much respect for him, And I did a fantasy basketball league with Adam Flowers and some of the guys. And I picked up Kobe. I said, if this is his last year, I'm going to have him on my fantasy team. And it was cool to watch the way he went out. And just looking.
That guy, they got me emotional.
Yeah, dude. Mamba out. And it's just, I wish I gave him his flowers while he was still playing. But it was definitely one of those things when he was gone, I took into more understanding of how great he really was. I had him in like my top 10s. Now he's in my top 5, so it's the understanding. And then just to see what he did off the court for kids, for what everyone things he was doing for the children in China, what he was doing for in the women's sports, what he was doing for women's basketball, and just the family man that he was. I think Kobe's death was probably the biggest outside of a family member death.
Oh yeah, for me too.
I felt.
For me too. I was, and I still will never forget where I was at.
Where were you?
I was actually in church while watching my fiance get baptized.
Wow.
So when she was getting baptized, she was supposed to go into the little pool they
Mm-hmm.
baptize you. I was coming from the other side. I think I was coming from teaching.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was coming from teaching the children's class.
That's right. You teach the children's ministry at your church.
And then people were calling me. They were like, "Hey, do you know that Kobe died?" And I was like, "Yeah, right." And I was already panicking because I felt like if someone else called me, and then I'm getting all these texts because they all know I love Black Mamba. Like Kobe Bryant, I wear all his clothes. I play basketball. I remind myself, I kind of picture myself playing like Kobe when I'm on the court. Because
that's awesome.
He's such an amazing athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone knows me as that. They even call me Black Mamba.
Hey,
because I wear all his clothes, right?
There you go.
Not because of all the skills like him.
Oh, that's what I thought it was. That fadeaway.
The fadeaway was there though. So the thing is like when I got those calls and I was getting text messages, and my good friend, I won't forget his name, Eddie, he actually called me. He's like, "Dude, man, Kobe's died," and it hit me so hard. I started crying walking to church, and I tried to play it off, and I was like so mad. I was like, "No," in my head, right? Because I was in church.
Yeah.
And then the praise and worship music came on. Oh my God. It hit me. I was on my knees, like weeping.
Yeah.
Weeping. And it was also emotional that I was witnessing.
With the experience that you were there with your partner,
she
her
baptized.
Yeah, and that's big.
So it was all at one time.
You had a lot of spiritual energy coming through you.
Oh man, it was crazy.
I should have been in church. I was sitting in bed, sleeping. I roll over to my phone and my dad has sent me a text message. And my dad, we played sports my whole life. My dad coached me in baseball for a few years, and we've always been understanding he's a Packers fan in football. And so he's got sports behind him. He's not a sports person. But to get a sports update text from my dad wasn't something I ever got.
No.
So to turn over and to see something that Kobe had passed, you think, it's got to be something fake. But yeah, I was asleep for a while, so I had like 3 or 4 other notifications. The first one was the TMZ notification.
Oh,
so that came through. I think I was like Yahoo Sports or something. And they reposted it, and I was just like, same thing. Like, and you were in public, like I won't be like out here saying like men don't cry at all. Like, men cry, and luckily I was in my room, so I was able to. But in public, I try to hold face, and it's hard. But to be out in a place of worship where God. Everything that goes on in life, we have to understand, part of his plan, right? Not part of our plan. Man plans, and God does what he wants. I forgot the saying. But basically we plan and God does. Mm-hmm. And, people used to ask me when I was, coming up in faith, trying to challenge me, like, why would God take, like a 4-year-old girl away from a family? And it's so hard to wrap your brain around stuff like that. And I think that God uses those types of events in people's life because he judges everyone based off of what they know, right? And if that child is young and innocent and they have an affinity for something beautiful, God will take care of that person individually. But now the brother, the sister, the mom and dad, maybe the brother is an older brother going through a hard time and maybe getting into substances in high school, and maybe the sister, didn't have a relationship. And so you never know a dynamic of a family or a friend that person can change their life for. Mm-hmm. And the moment I learned that at a young age, it's helped me understand that, death is part of the cycle, and it's never easy to comprehend. But going back to what I said before, Kobe is just looking back on his career on and off the court, as a life, as a person. I was
telling people he was going to start his second life, the second part of his life. The part where you've accomplished so much that now you're going to pour out everything you've put in.
Yeah.
And now you're giving back. You're being selfless and you're giving back, and that's like the fulfilling part of the end of your life. That's the second life, and I was so mad. I was pissed because I knew that's like he was going to do the novel thing, the novel writing.
Right. He's going to get big into opening stories and sharing
and then
information.
Getting the women into the basketball league.
Yep, getting it more competitive, more viewership, get it to be more understood and well respected amongst sports.
Yeah, and then he had the Mamba facility,
Yeah.
I went there twice.
The Mamba was supposed to shed his skin. But I think we don't know his heart. And we don't know, the intricacies of everything, but we hope that was something that God is using for a bigger purpose. and looking into everything that's going on in the world right now, I guess we can kind of transition out of that. A lot of this does seem a lot of biblical right now. I mean, whether it's these evil people trying to, there's clearly an attack and persecution on Christians and the Judeo-Christian faith. And regardless whether this is, events being put upon us, to attack our faith, or whether this really is aligning with the end times, I really feel that being a Christian and living, your faith and your fruit is most important right now, because people are watching and things are happening. And I mean, for one, if you're not, 100% on your faith, this is the perfect time to really figure out what's most important in life. And I think that COVID gave that for me. I've been a Christian my whole life, Baptist Christian, grew up in the church, went on that mission trip after high school, and I got very worldly and very secular to what I wanted to do. I got selfish, and I found ways to benefit myself. And I struggled with health issues for the last 8 years. And I think that everything I've endured, the good and the bad, like you said earlier, puts you on a divine path. And with all of that and the COVID, I think my story was a wake-up call during COVID. And no matter what I wanted to do for myself, selfishly, for the second time in my life, I came back to Christ confidently, knowing why did I ever waver, right? And so thankful that I never wavered too far to get lost.
Right.
And he never came back while I was wavering.
You just stepped out the front door.
And right now, more than ever, I know, where my faith lands. And that I think at this point, a lot of the different areas in my life has kind of transformed to where now my next chapters are going to be my second life, right? And so, what are your thoughts? Just everything from Kobe's death right there, that whole January, February, March phase where all of a sudden businesses started getting shut down. I'm working in a bar right now, so we were one of the first places shut down right in that March timeline. It was I think March 13th was a Friday the 13th, and I worked on that day, and it was 2, 3, 4 days later when I was on the schedule, when everything's no, we're shut down. And that was kind of the start of it all. We've gone from shutdowns to the fear of the murder hornets coming around. Aliens, the Area 51. Yeah, the aliens are up next to, we've got the COVID first wave and the numbers that came with that. The nursing home situation in New York, where Cuomo was stuffing all those people in there. And then we had the bubble restart for basketball. So people like us, we don't really like the whole political side of that basketball restart. I didn't like it, at least. I know you didn't. But as someone that's as competitive and athletic as we were, it's sports. And it was something that, we can completely separate from politics. And so we had the bubble coming back and the yes or no of opening schools and the threat of the second wave of COVID. And we're kind of sitting here 2 weeks before the election. And we've seen so much happen between the riots. Emails coming out, George Floyd. Kind of just condense. What is your ideas? Kind of just what do you think is going on? What are your thoughts on going on? Being a patriot in America and a Christian. How do you feel is going on right now? What is your perspective on things? And how are you getting through it?
I think I'm doing perfectly fine. Not to be in a boastful way, but that I know that the hand of the Lord is upon my life. I know that He's handling the situation. He's just not standing back. There's gonna be a shift. There's gonna be an awakening, a revival. It's gonna be seasons of that stuff, and the Holy Spirit is gonna work so hard because God already knows where. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're close to the end times.
It feels like it.
And this 2020 is not going to be nowhere near what's really going to happen when we're much more closer.
I told my dad that if I have kids, I don't think my kids will have grandchildren.
Yeah.
So if I have kids, that they'll never experience grandchildren. I think that's how close I feel.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Or
with
sooner.
You. So this whole year in a nutshell has been the biggest roller coaster, economic wise and political wise. And if you see through the eyes of God, you see which side is wrong, you see which side is right. Not even being judgmental, just seeing, is this for the good? Is this aligned up with what God wants, or is this against God? Is this with idols and having control and power and abuses of power? You can see that. And you can see You can see the difference between parties. You can see what's been going on. If you really do your research, you know who controls all the media, the mainstream media.
Yeah.
6 major big corporations.
Yep. Which are funded by Rockefeller and Soros.
Yeah, but Soros and Rockefeller. So there's like so much. It's almost like there's one man that wants to keep this country grounded, solid foundation, America's value, and create a better country, thriving country, you know, with manufacturing and everything, right?
Yeah.
Export, import, all that stuff. And then you have the other side that wants to continue decades of administration policies that were enforced and everything that was done until this one man comes in and he wants to wreck everything that they had.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Plus, there's a lot of stuff that occurred from Kobe dying, which there was a newspaper article that said coronavirus, vaccine against coronavirus or something like that, while the picture of Kobe's death. See, when you're focused on something and it's so impactful, you're not going to see anything of any direction.
Yep.
It'll hit you before you know it because the whole world was shocked. And he had connections in China.
He had connections in China, the vaccine companies, the pharmaceutical companies.
Yep.
He had a lawsuit that was going to be working against Anthony Fauci's pharmaceutical vaccine company. There's actually a lot of stuff. If you know, like the Freemasons, there's also the Boulets, and there's connections that he was part of that, and that he was a sacrifice. And if you looked at his ceremony at the Emmys, I think that's what it was, the next day or that Friday, it was almost more like a sacrificial ritual of praising his life instead of like respecting Kobe's life and the family and having like a memorial. And it made me eerie. The Whitney Houston was the exact same way. Her child died, and then she died right before the Emmys, and they played the video of Whitney and Kobe, and it was the same pattern. I mean, if you're into pattern recognition and stuff like that, you start to
wow, and
you just start to like, why there's too many things connected. And I can go in for 2 hours on a Kobe podcast on his connections and how it goes to the Rothschilds and black nobility, but
it goes deep. You just don't see it on the media. This is all like behind the scenes.
And if that's with Kobe and superficial things, you know, like Hollywood, you can imagine, you know, the politics, how deep seated that is, and the way they use that. And now, I mean, you're older than me, but we're both old enough to know and be around stuff when, you know, the internet, you know, was coming up better and better and better as time went on. I had a cell phone back in the day where it was cool to have an internet, and they charged you like $35 to be on it for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It wasn't a real Google, and it was on your flip phone and stuff. So the internet's come a long way even in my lifetime. And I just truly believe that with everything going on, I've never seen fact checkers. I've never needed to see someone, because it's up to you to be duped or not. And you read something, you cross-reference. It's up to you to just understand common sense. But that's been taken away from us.
Yeah, when we have been duped this year. Duped.
Yeah.
I can go into so many different...
18 out of 20 of those fact checkers are also owned by George Soros. So if you own the media and the internet, and then you still have doubters, you can now falsify a security while saying we will fact check, which will 90% of the sheep will now feel alleviated to read whatever they read that says fact checked, and it's by the same people that are funneling their Googles and their YouTube searches.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, I could go into the whole Wayfair thing, the child trafficking. I mean, there's so much stuff that was exposed, and I feel like God is just slowly exposing the deep state, all the demonic plans, all the horrible things for humanity. Like, it's just horrible. And that's why I'm looking at this whole year. For me personally, because of my values, my morals, and also my spiritual compass, and I have Jesus in my life, it doesn't faze me. It just makes me more aware of what's going on, and also read into like, damn, this is what Hillary did, or you know, this is how the coronavirus was engineered. It wasn't from a bat. Right. No. Like, just so much stuff that you start looking back and you start doubting everything they tell you, because the CDC can't even get their thing straight.
No, and even when they straighten out their numbers, they bury it on page 10 and don't update the homepage. So still the sheep that goes to the website still is lost. They make you search 10 pages to find out the new numbers. I mean, my God. I believe that if someone really feels that they need a mask to be around me, and I have one in my pocket, I'll put it on for them. I think I mentioned to you before we started filming here that I had a mask that basically read that the virus was less than a 97% fatality rate if you're under 70 years old, which is less than the common flu. So I make sure to put that on very slowly so you can read it if they ask me to put it on. But I've got a podcast I just did recently on just, you got Oxford University, and you've got the Annals of Medicine coming up from the New England Book of Medicine, two of the most pristine medicine journals and doctor panels. They're talking how masks are not good for the pandemic, that they're basically there just to help with the fear factor. That, overused mask rate. There's 12 facts on the hypoxia rates, surgeons that they were wearing them. They did data analysis tests on them and just understanding how long you wear one, what can happen, et cetera, et cetera. They did tests on the quality of the mask and its actual ability to stop the virus. And it's just every single factor from USC Medical, Stanford, Harvard, Oxford Medical, everything when you do your research points to it being not lethal, not needing a mask, that you're being duped. Even Fauci in himself, not only in a 60-minute video earlier in the year, said that wearing a mask does no good. But in 2000, I believe 14 or 16, I'll have to correct myself here, he wrote an article about the hydroxychloroquine and masks and contradicted himself back then. And then in 2005, he worked on a COVID strain, and he in his panels have written that all COVID and SARS strains are controllable by hydroxychloroquine in 2005. And it's in the notes. And so if you search it up, it's there. But same thing with the CDC. They won't put it up as top news. They won't put it on the homepage. They won't put it on the news. And that got me to the point, and looking at everything, right? The riots, the murder hornets. I think the thing that took to me were the masks the most. I don't know what got you the most upset through these last 6-7 months, but for me it was the masks, because not only were there just perpetuated lies straight in your face, but then when you try to correct them with doctor paneling, they all of a sudden became not credible doctors. They censor them. And then if you're right, why would you have to censor us and create fact checkers and do all of that and go against things that have science behind it? Right. Fact checkers wasn't that popular years ago. A few years ago, you didn't see that many fact checkers. You didn't see that many false information. Now it's just like, well, and it's very biased too. How many fact checkers do you see on other? I've seen death threat tweets. I've seen someone posted a chain to go block someone. I don't have a Twitter, but I said, if you have a Twitter, go block this name. He's producing child pornography. There's death threats to the president. And those things will be completely left unfazed. Yeah. Nudity, pornography. That's why I posted that thing. I posted what I posted on Facebook, because it's like, You'll fact check everything that exposes the lies of this party or this liberalist or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. It's just you're exposing the truth about them that the media won't cover. Yep. Yet when you are being like ridiculed, or everyone's talking trash or facts about the opposing party, it's like there's no fact checks. It's just laid out. Go ahead, do your research. Free reign of just, we'll correct ourselves later. Yeah, exactly. So it is biased. 100%. And that's one thing I've noticed too, is it's making an accusation or a claim and make the other side prove it, because they know that you're going to have to use a lot of energy and facts and stuff to prove your point. And most people either aren't going to listen, aren't going to pay attention to you, so they're going to automatically make a selfish choice in their mind. And then the people you do try to reach is going to be an effort. And when you finally do it, it's going to be like, oh my God, that exhausted me. And they know that. And I think they're making it, even if they're lying, you have to put so much energy into making them see the truth. It almost exhausts you to not want to do it. I know. And no matter what you say. And then we're down 70 points in the polls, and you might as well not vote. You know, Hillary's got this, and now Joe's got this, you know? Yeah, my God. So the state of America is very, very weak. We sold ourselves. Taft is the president in 1912. Sold our country like a stock, like it was a hot stock on NASDAQ, man. And he took the Federal Reserve Act and sold that to Baron Rothschild and J.P. Morgan and the Rockefeller and John Rockefeller. And they killed off Jacob Winsor and those people on the Titanic that were gonna basically put their votes against the federal. So I mean, now you're looking at, now was Titanic a strategic government overthrow to get rid of the guys so they can completely take in their plans, right? And since 1912, we've seen so much happen. I mean, Abraham Lincoln had to fix Andrew Jackson and Jacksonian Democrats' mistake of introducing white supremacy into America and creating that hatred and division. And as well as Abe Lincoln was able to do what he did in the late 1800s and 1912, we screwed ourselves over by selling ourselves over to that Federal Reserve Act and every single major historic point since 1912 that we don't, like you said, this whole Pandora's box was open during COVID, and like Hillary's emails and the Russia and Ukraine and Biden's money, and it's just, you can go on forever. And it's like everything will now tie up to a Rothschild or a Rockefeller or a Soros or a Kissinger or a Windsor.
Oh yeah, if you connect all the tentacles together, yeah, it just leads to.
And that's why for me, politics never really made, the biggest, it didn't cause too much concern because I could feel that there was something bigger. And I think that being a Christian and a patriot in today's times, we're able to see through that. And I think God's giving us that ability. And it's hard being persecuted daily, but I think that, being a patriot, I think staying fast and doing what we're doing is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So I thoroughly enjoyed all the topics today, man. We covered just what I really wanted to talk about in your personal journey in conquering a dream of yours and a business, and the mindset it took to get there, and the intangibles that it takes to be successful in something, right? If everything was so easy, then everyone would be doing everything, right? And so I appreciate giving me mostly, but my viewers and whoever decides to come onto this podcast or anyone you share this with, insight into kind of just what it takes, but also your personal journey. I appreciate that. Talking a little about the Lake Show, getting that championship and doing it for Kobe. That's just much love for Kobe and everyone that's in LA right now. We don't get the parade, but hopefully we get some love going on. And then just lastly, being in a country that's so beautiful and so great, but in a tough time. And patriots and godly people like we are, we just need to help people and be lights. Don't be, angry and full of hatred and, we're resentful to other people. The other side preaches tolerance and doesn't offer that, and a lot of people see that. And so like you do, like I've known you my whole life, just continue to live by the fruits. And I think that more people that share the truth and just share love, more is going to come out. And
we also lift up all our Armenians, man. Lift up that whole country.
100% in Armenia right now, everything that's going on. It's
I got mad love for I know a ton of them. I got love for their culture. I respect them, their grind, their hustle, family,
family
respect.
Oriented 100%.
It's like what they're going through is just I can't believe there's somebody that evil.
Again, it's a more attacks on their faith for Christ.
Yeah, persecution. Man.
Persecution on Christians and the Jews out here. This is my first podcast interview again. I super appreciate this, bro. You are an awesome guy, and so you definitely set the bar for a great interview, and just getting comfortable with it all. I enjoyed you being here, and if there's anything you want to leave to your viewers that are going to be watching this, or to my viewers,
just don't, when things happen in life, don't ask why is this happening to me, because we're gonna get hit. There's been stuff that I got hit with I can't talk about right now, but it's like you get hit unexpectedly. God doesn't give you a warning. Nobody gives you a warning. You just get hit with it, and as soon as you do, you don't ask God, why is this happening? Just ask God, how can I get out of this? How can I learn from this? And when you're faced with situations, when you're tired of something, like the way that I was tired about corporate politics, about working for companies and they're ripping off homeowners. If you have a good heart, God knows where to place you. He knows He knows He's not going to keep you in that situation where you're going to be doing something you're not in love with, you're not passionate about. So it's just get yourself uncomfortable, and that's the only way that you're going to throw yourself into the unknown. And then later on, when the onions start peeling, you start seeing the manifestation or the fruit of what God is trying to get to you. But it takes with just being uncomfortable and making those decisions. Like those decisions lead to other decisions and lead to more decisions.
Right.
And now you're like, okay, this is where I got you. That's what the Lord is doing. It's like, I got you right here. I want to put you right there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
I love that. And no matter when you deviate, He finds a way to put you back.
Yeah. He throws detours in there.
I love it. Amen.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we're just going to wrap this up here, guys. This is Omar Segura, CEO of, again, Clean Energy Solar Direct. Check out, I'll drop the handles again right here of his and mine Instagram, his business. But But again, Omar, I appreciate you for coming on here, bro. And
Yeah.
till next time, everybody. I guess we're gonna see you guys next time, and stay frosty.
Stay frosty, my friends.
No, I won't cave. Ay. No, I won't sway. Yeah. No, I won't cave. Okay. I've been on the mountain. What you wanna say? Ay. I'll be up in heaven with them one day. Ay. You be in the grave and yeah, my soul is safe. Ay. You be slowing down.